All right, y'all. Shalom, shalom. Uh, think about it Thursday, man. Want to first and foremost give all praises and glory and honor be to the Most High God, right? Um, we don't take none of these opportunities to come before the people to edify for granted. But like we said, think about it Thursday. So today we're trying to give our people something to think about a little bit more in detail when it comes to the word of the Most High and the things that will benefit us, I would say. So today's topic, as you can see, is will reparations fix the black race, right? And we know that there's a lot of things that go into understanding this, but it's not going to be no super in-depth breakdown, and we're going to go into the economy and see about who spends what the most and things of that nature. If it is brought forth, then all praises unto the Most High. But like I always say, man, Most High willing, every time we get on here, our biggest prayer is that you're edified and that the name of the Most High is glorified above all things. We don't do this for vainglory, for self-pleasure, man. We just do this because we we want to be able to do our part in waking our people up and showing our people a little something different, right? But before we get any further into the topic, we always got to bring out a couple precepts to warm it up, right? You know how you go to the gym sometimes and um you go to the gym sometimes and you trying to get a workout in. You don't just go straight to the workout. You got to get a warm-up set in. So we finna start warming up with the scriptures real quick, right? Start warming up with the precepts. All right. So let me share my screen. This is the book of First Peter chapter 4 and verse 11, right? And if any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever, right? So, hey, look, like we said, we get on here, we want to speak as the oracles of the Most High God. We don't get on here for granted. We don't take these opportunities for granted. And anytime we speak, we want y'all to understand that it's coming from the words of the Most High, not ourselves. I'm a mortal man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to listen to me and obey me. I want us to be able to obey the Father, right? Let's go to another precept real quick. This is the book of Acts, Acts chapter 5 and 29, right? Acts 5 and 29. And it reads, Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, We ought to obey God rather than men. Hey, look, we ought to obey the Most High, right? Which is why we getting on here to understand that we don't want you to listen to us. It's not us that we want you to philosophize. I mean, it's not us that um wants to come on here and you all hear us and hearken unto us. It's not that. It's simply the words of the Most High is what we want you to hearken unto. So let me go and pull up one more precept, right, before we dive into it. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 4 and verse number 7, right? Proverbs 4 and 7. And it says, Wisdom is a principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So today, Most High willing through the Spirit, man, we're going to try to get some understanding about will reparations fix the black race, right? Now, we're going to go through a little, a common scripture, right? Because we're going to ask, well, what is reparations, right? So let's go to Google. What is rep? What is reparations, right? Pull it up right here. So we're going to use the Google definition. And the Google definition says that reparation, right? The making of amends for wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wrong, right? So reparations is pretty much making an amendment, right? Saying, hey, I messed up, I did you wrong. Here's some money. Hey, that's me saying my bad. That's what the definition according to America is. Reparations is when you make amends for something that you've done wrong, right? And then it goes in another definition. It says the compensation for war damage paid by a defeated state, right? So, hey, look, if you lost a war, you had to pay reparations, right? It says paid by a defeated state. That's just like our people under the curses, child support. When you a father, man, and you got to pay, you go to court to get custody of your kids, you lose custody, and 9 times out of 10, the mom is putting you on child support, right? You defeated, you lost custody, and you got to pay child support, right? So that's what reparations is. You know what I'm saying? You're defeated, right? What are 5 forms of reparations? And it says, as explored above, reparations include 5 key components: cessation / assurance of non-repetition, restitution and reparation. No, Salakia. That says repatriation, compensation, satisfaction, and rehabilitation, right? So there's 5 different components of what reparations truly are. But overall, reparations is, like we said, this is the main point: the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So again, when you think about reparations, right, and you think about slavery, you think about what black people are truly owed. Now, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute because I need to pull something up. Gmail. Let me pull up my email. Con. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay, let me. Shalom.
Shalom.
Let me share my screen real quick. Let me see if you can hear this first and foremost. Can you hear that? Dang, so I gotta share it the other way. All right.
Was it even playing?
Yeah, it was.
She wasn't even moving.
All right. So let me start this over, right? Because we're talking about reparations. So let's listen, right? It's a 2-minute video, not too long, but let's listen.
The pushback I hear most
Can you hear that? Okay, Con.
often is, that's your problem given your ancestors, but it has nothing to do with me. It's understandable that people distance themselves. I'll focus on 2 reasons. 1, most of us learned a distorted history of slavery in school. So as white Americans, most of us don't realize our connection to it. Second, there's a natural instinct to avoid that which can bring feelings of shame about our people, about the country that we love. To address the first issue, here's a quick rundown of historical facts I had not been taught. That the North was deeply implicated, that slavery was legal in northern states for over 200 years, that Northerners up and down the economic spectrum made their livings in businesses tied to slave trade and slavery, that Northern mills processed cotton harvested by enslaved people. The Midwest and the West were implicated. They grew food to feed the South, where land was devoted to cash crops like cotton, harvested by the enslaved. Consumers throughout the country were implicated in their everyday purchases of clothing, coffee, sugar, rice, tobacco. People who immigrated from Europe after slavery were implicated. I have Irish, French, and German immigrant ancestors who came to the United States in the 19th century, worked in factories, struggled, but they were given access to the American dream. Why were waves of immigrants flocking here? Because it was the land of opportunity. Why was the economy booming? Why were there jobs? Because it had been built largely on unpaid labor.
I want to stop it right there because what she just said is monumental. Hey, look, when you think about the economy of the United States, right? It says she said that the reason that why was the economy booming? Why was there so much opportunity? Why is there so much business and money? Is because it was built on unpaid labor, right? Let me pull up a precept real quick. Minimize this. Let me pull up a precept real quick. Salakia. Let me go to the book of Baruch. Baruch chapter 3, verse number 8. Right? This is the book of Baruch chapter 3 and verse number 8. And it reads, Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. Right? So we got to think about, you know what I'm saying, Baruch being Jeremiah's scribe, understanding this is that even still to this day, we are in the land of our captivity because we were a reproach and a curse. And a part of that captivity is we were subject to payments, right? Basically, we're sitting up here working for free pretty much. We were given reparations for being defeated, right? To the people who are oppressing us, which is why the economy of the United States of America at a point in time was able to be in such a way to have a multitude of nations worldwide wanting to come to this part of the earth, to this specific land, because they wanted that economics, that economic what's the word for them that I'm looking for. They wanted that economic power, that economic strength, that economic stability. So they came to a land where, hey, pretty much you could benefit from it because the people who was building this stuff up, they wasn't paying much, right? Think about how rich Quick Trip would be right now. Think about how rich Walmart would be right now. Think about how rich Target, all the big stores that you can name. Think about all the money that they make, right? Think about how much more money they would have if they never paid a dime to any of the so-called black workers, the so-called black Hispanic workers that they have. If they never paid a dime to any so-called black man or any so-called Hispanic man, think about how much more money that they would have if they never had if there was never such thing as a W-2, a minimum wage, you know? So that's what she said right here, right? I'm gonna go back a little bit right here and I'm gonna play it again.
Why was the economy booming? Why were there jobs? Because it had been built largely on unpaid labor. Once here, European immigrants got to systematically leapfrog over Black families with devastating consequences up to the present day. So slavery built the nation. It turned
Why? That's so.
powerhouse.
Who is the idiot that's clapping for that? Like that's a good like. That's not the time to clap, dude. What in the world?
I think they more so clapping being that they agree with the point that she's making.
I feel you. That's not a time to clap. That's like saying like, dang man, we really love Buddy man. You know what I'm saying? It's sad that he died.
Right.
It's just an awkward time to clap to me,
Right.
like man. But on
No,
that point right there, can I bring out a precept too?
hold on. Let me pull up another tab. What you gonna need to grab for you?
Deuteronomy 28 and 30.
See that? Going
You
into
have it
my
already?
lesson, man.
You don't. I ain't gotta bring it out then.
Nah, you good. Go ahead. That's the Lord right there. This
But
is the
yeah,
book
man.
of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse number 30. It says, Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Man, I'm just bringing this out, man, just to land me back on her point, how this nation was built on free labor, right? We built all these houses and all these establishments right? We planted all these vineyards, we all these gardens, right? They how they say Georgia is known for the pecans, and Florida is known for the peaches and stuff like that, right? Who you think started all these crops and whatnot, right? And the South is big on cotton, right? We started all these establishments and we didn't get paid not a dime, right? And we paved the way for these other nations to come in and them to start getting paid through the establishments that we built, right? Just think about it. We built this. Take the example that you just did, right? If there's a Walmart, we would have built the Walmart, right, for free. And then after we were done, they would bring in foreigners, right, to come work at the Walmart to make money at the establishment that we built for free, right? We were providing jobs for foreigners to come in and to thrive on. Meanwhile, we didn't get paid a dime, right? Meanwhile, we were building houses and we were living in shacks and living on the streets, right? We was planting vineyards, um, and crops, and we were starving. No way in the world that should have happened.
Right. Hey, and that's important because when you go into the understanding of reparations, right? Reparations is the whole point of making the video is to understand that reparations is not really going to change much of anything, right? But going into what the brother is saying is just like none of that stuff should have happened, but it did, right? And so now we see that everything that the woman was saying is true. These things happen for a reason. I wanted to pull out a specific precept, but I didn't want to read it because I wanted to make a point. But I might come back to it. I might come back to it, right? But let me see. Let me see if I want to use. Where was I at? Where was right? It says right here, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 43. It says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail," right? And then it says right here in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48, it says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things," right? And it says, "And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." Hey, look, these curses, right, are a part of exactly what was going on during slavery, right? Which is why America had so much of an influx of jobs, so much of an influx of money, because the things that we were doing for free on top of being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? On top of gathering all the fruit, but not drinking the wine thereof, right? Like it mentions in Deuteronomy 28 and 38, right? Also in Deuteronomy 28 and 30, like we just read. Let me look up something real quick because I want to look up something, right? I don't know why I just type in Google to look up Google, but let's see this. How much money did America make off of slavery? That's the top one. This is according to Bloomberg.com. Right now, don't take everything for
You
face
breaking
value.
up?
Huh?
Said you was breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Still a little hazy.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Con. Might just be the bandwidth, right? But this is according to Bloomberg.com. It says the economic value of the 4 million slaves in 1860, and this is in 1860, right? This is not even counting all the hundreds of years before that. But in 1860 was on average $1,000 per person, or about $4 billion total. That was more than all the banks railroads, and factories in the U.S. were worth at the time, right? So, hey, look, there was approximately 4 million slaves in 1860. Could be a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying? But on
Now,
average, it was $1,000 per person. What was you about to say?
now I was about to say, and that $1,000 back then ain't what $1,000 today would be, right?
Right,
$1,000 back then was a whole lot more, right? So if you convert that into today's time, man, you're looking at probably no less than about five. I would say $1,000 back then would probably be close to what do you say? Probably like $50,000 today.
I couldn't even tell you honestly. Hold on, let me see. How much was
I know it was a lot, man, because just in like the '90s, people were buying houses for like $80,000 in the '90s,
right?
and now you can't find no house really lower than 200,000, 180 maybe, but
Right. Hey, look, in 1860, right? $1,000 in 1860 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $36,044.58 today, right? An increase of $35,044.58 over 163 years, right? So the dollar had an average inflation rate of 2.22% per year between 1860 and today, producing a cumulative price increase of $3,504.46. Oh, not $504, but $3,504.46%.
that's crazy. So you telling me back then really it says $1,000 per person, but it's really about $36,000 per person.
Right. So take
That's a
36,000.
whole, that's somebody's whole salary, yearly salary.
Right. Some people don't make that in a year, right? And you got to
That's
multiply
crazy.
this by 4 million.
That's crazy.
Approximately 4 million. This is
144.
this is 144 billion
You can't make
100
this up.
178 million $320. This is about how much money slaves were worth back then in today's time, right? This is 144 billion dollars. You
Right,
can't make this up, man.
right.
So you looking at how much money did America make off slavery? Slaves were worth about 4 billion total. Now, when you look at people also as, right? This is Gilder. This is Gilder. La, I don't know how to pronounce that, right? But the website right here, right? It says, "How did slavery build America's economy?" And it says by 1840, the South grew 60% of the world's cotton and provided some 70% of the cotton consumed by the British textile industry. Thus, slavery paid for a substantial share of the capital, iron, and manufactured goods that laid the basis for American economic growth, right? So it's just like cocaine in the 80s um, was just like how cotton was back in the 1800s. You move
That's
cotton by the
crazy.
pound. Hey, look, that was the basis of the trade right there. Cotton. That was the biggest trade embargo. Go ahead.
Now I just had a side thought, man. It's crazy. So you telling me America really got about $144 billion worth of free labor, and we're still in debt?
Right.
It doesn't make no sense.
We're in this country is in debt, right? Let's look that up. How much is America in debt? Right? Think about it. So we already did the math, right? If I pull up my calculator again, this is the number 144 billion, 178 million, 320,000, right? So that's how much money, you know what I'm saying, America made, or that was the average price that was the total value of slaves, right? When you look up how much money America is in debt $31 trillion. All those years of free labor, but they're in debt about $31 trillion.
That's ridiculous.
That's too ridiculous, right? It doesn't make no sense. And it says, who does the U.S. owe debt to? Other holders of the public debt include insurance companies, U.S. savings bonds, private pension funds, and other holders, including individuals, government sponsored enterprises, brokers and dealers, banks, bank personal trust and estates, corporate and non corporate businesses, and other investors, right? So a bunch of madness that they built off this country, and that's who they're in debt to, right? And you got to think about it like this: how hip hop industry make a year. So when I'm looking this up for us, a side note, right? Because we're that much money in debt, right? We had all this free labor off our people, and I'm just trying to look up some numbers about how much money does one of the leading money makers in the black community is music, right? So how much money is the hip hop industry worth in 2022? Dre gets firmer. Matter of fact, this ain't what I'm looking up. Industry publication Trapital has tackled that question in its 2022 Culture Report, which was published last night. It notes that while hip hop recorded music revenues in the U.S. grew from 2.3 billion in 2020 to 2.7 billion in 2021, its share of total revenue fell from 28.2% to 27.7%. So, all praises, the hip hop market declined by almost a whole percent this year. That's about 0.5%. I'm gonna say that's about 0.5%. So it got 5% more to drop, right? But ultimately, 2.3 and 2.7 billion is a lot of money for music. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think who leads that industry. Our people lead that industry, right?
Uh,
And you got to think about the things when you talk about reparations. You got to consider everything that will come into factor for everybody to have the same amount of money total, right? Because let me look at this. California reparations, right? California reparations. What is the bill for reparations in California Assembly Bill 3121 establishes the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans, with the special considerations for African Americans who are descendants of person enslaved in the United States. Task force or reparations task force, right? So the buyout that people are seeking is somewhat in the millions, right? But on average, they said about $223,000 per Black American in the United States. That's how much you would receive for reparations. And in my personal opinion, that's not going to benefit us, right? Let me tell you why. Again, going back to Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8, it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God, right? That's one reason why. Let's go to another precept. This is the book of, let me find it. This is the book of, where is it at?
and is that 5 million untaxed?
Right. And it's not getting to the taxes, right?
I guarantee you they're gonna require some taxes on that guy, bro. Somehow or another, they gonna find a way to get paid.
Right. They're going to find a way. And we're
They
going to
gonna
talk
find
about
a,
that.
they gonna find a way to get paid, bro. No matter what, they be helping us out. They gonna still find a way to get paid off of us. Either way, this
Either
is
way it go.
ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous.
Look at this. This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse number 6. It says, ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes, right? Meaning that every time we get money, we put it in a bag, it's coming right out. Think about how the economy would work if everybody in the world had the same amount of money. The world was shut down. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at why. This is why the world was shut down. If I had $5 million and Brother Donal had $5 million, Brother Donal starts a business. He's seeking employees. He's asking me to be his employee. But why, if I have the same amount of money that you do? Why would I want to work for you? Why not you come work for me? You know what I'm saying? And I got into a little, not a debate, not an argument, but I would say a discussion with a sister on Twitter about reparations. And when I said, what will reparations do for the so-called black man in America? One of the things that she stated is that everybody could take their money and invest in black businesses in entertainment. And I said, interesting. I didn't even have to answer the question the way I wanted it to, because somebody else answered the question for me the exact way I wanted it to and said that wouldn't work, because all they would do is increase taxes, and they would increase inflation to make it seem as if that $223,000 or however much it was nothing.
Not only that, what are you putting money back into entertainment to mostly entertain these white folks for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what all the stuff you're saying put money into is literally putting it into a bag with holes. I'm gonna put money into entertainment, comedy, basketball, football. That's a bag with holes, bro. It's not gonna help our community at all. At all. We're gonna put money into these clothing companies and whatnot. If you're not clothing the sick and the needy, right, and you're making designer clothes, right, you're putting it into a bag with holes. It doesn't make no sense to do that stuff. How about if we got it, instead of supporting black businesses, how about we all go buy some land? Well, how about we own start our own thing, right? You know, our a legit community, rather than aiding the community they have forced us and indoctrinated us to want to be a part of. That was your answer. That's your answer. Let's put money into entertainment. What? Come on, bro. And that's why they're okay with giving us reparations, because we just gonna put it into those bags with holes ourselves.
You know how many mom and pop clothing lines there would be if they gave us reparations?
Retarded, man. It'd be retarded.
Everybody would have their own sweatsuits. Everybody would have their own t-shirts they promoting, their own hats.
It'd be retarded. Putting into a bag with holes, bro. And just like Brother Yeshaya was saying, man, if you gave everybody $5 million, everybody started their own company, nobody would have any workers, bro. One, because everybody would have their own business. Two, right, to even find a worker, people, black people, man, so-called black folks. We gonna, hey man, my price don't went up, bro. I ain't working for $15 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to, baby, I got 5 million, just like you got 5 million.
Not
right?
even that. We're not even, as a people, we're not mentally disciplined enough to deal with money. I mean, just going throughout high school and college, you can see the mentality of our people. Once they want to have a good time, once they're intoxicated, everything go out the window. All your decision making go out the window. That's for anybody, but we've seen it over and over again at these kickbacks. We've seen it over again. Our people just want to celebrate something, and when it's time to celebrate, they don't care they spent $500 on bottles. They don't care that they spent $200 on weed.
Somebody gonna spend that whole $5 million on Jordans, bro. So you giving your $5 million right back to Jordan, nigga.
Right. and $5 million with you. They'll try to justify it by saying it's an investment. I can resell the Jordans. Come on, man. Pointless stuff, man. Stuff that doesn't have any value.
Right, man. I want to get some land, bro.
Right.
Make it to where we can be dependent on ourselves and not dependent on our oppressor, bro. You'll never get enough black people to come together to do that, though. Not in today's time.
Right. And the thing is, like you were saying, Shalom, Brother Azrael, but the thing is, like you were saying, one of the things our people lack, the reason reparations wouldn't fix our people is, for one, because we lack discipline. We lack discipline. Discipline, like we say, is a big thing. Like to anything in life, if you want to achieve anything in life, you got to be disciplined to achieve it, right? And you're not going to achieve nothing without having some sort of discipline. Only thing you're going to achieve is eternal damnation without discipline, right? You got to think about it like this, though. Like the brother said, a great point. In college, The mindset of our people is we spending money on pointless things. If I could go back and have every dollar that I spent from the time that I was 18 to the time that now I'm 24, right? I can think about everything that I spent money on. I could have a lot more money than what I do now, just basing on what I spent money on while I was a young dude in college, right? A lot of our people are uneducated enough to know why your money needs to go here instead of here. See, like the brother was saying, our people are going to have a crabs in a bucket type of mindset when we get all this money, right?
Right.
They people gonna see like, well, you don't know what we gonna do, well, because now we got to decide. Okay, everybody got $5 million. Now, who's gonna be the business that we're gonna invest in, right? You might want to invest in so and so business, but so and so might say, well, hey, look, my business has been. We're getting into an argument about investments now. We're getting an argument into about who gets what, because that's all politics is who gets what and when,
Right.
right?
All the CEOs of all these white companies, right? You think about these car dealerships. You think about Adidas, Nike. All of them, they fighting for us to get reparations because they know, hey, you put $5 million into the hands of a let's say ages 16 to 25. You put $5 million in their hand. Oh, all that money. Oh, what? Hey, them car salesmen is gonna be happy once we get reparations, bro. They're gonna see, hey, they're gonna be seeing people in them lots every day.
They don't have enough scat packs and trail hawks and they don't have enough of those because they're gonna all be sold out.
Man, they're gonna be loving it, man. Nike's gonna be loving it.
I got a
Adidas is gonna
preset
be loving it.
after you go to what you're going to, Yeshaya.
They're gonna fight for us to get reparations, bro, because they know it's gonna come right back to them.
Look, man. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything, right? But mind you, look at these numbers. White Americans make up 76, according to 2019. White Americans make up 76% of the United States population. It's not that far off of a number according to the 2020 U.S. Census either. But 76%, and they have a percent increase in buying power. They had a 39% increase in buying power from 2010 to 2019. The same with Black Americans. We make up 13.4%, but had a 48% increase, right? And Asians had more, but of course we know that more Asians are coming to the Americas, so it only makes sense. But think about it like this, right? When you go look up what race spends the most on clothes, look at this. Blacks and Hispanics spend up to 30% more than whites. Remember, whites make up 76.2% of the population according to 2019. But blacks and Hispanics spend up to 30% more than whites of comparable income on visible good looks like clothing, cars, and jewelry, the researchers found. So we spend 30% more than the white man on things that look good to the eye, that are appealing to the eye, right?
Material things, man.
Material things, right? But yet, when you look at what race has more debt, it goes to black students. Black students, right? 4 years after graduating, black students hold almost twice as much student debt as their white peers, largely due to differences in the interest accrual and graduate school borrowing. After graduating from college, 17% of black students are behind on their student loans compared to 9% of white students,
Right.
right? So it's all a numbers game. When you look at reparations and how they would fix our people, how they would change the state of our people, it won't change it that much because at the end of the day, the numbers are going to tell the truth every time, right?
Right.
And when you look at this, like we said, when you look at this in comparison, the top 5 aggregate expenditure share for categories for high income black households were housing. 34.2% of our money went to housing. 17.1% of our money went to transportation. Personal insurance and pensions, 15%. Not bad. Total food, 12.7%, and healthcare, 4.8%, right? And then you go look at which race is the most race in poverty.
But you gotta think too, man. That personal insurance and pensions is low, but it really should be high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the man Deacon said in this song, man. If we all
We
got
had
life
life
insurance,
insurance,
they'll
they'll stop
stop
killing
killing us.
us.
Cause they know, hey, look, you killed one of us, you killed Lil Ray Ray. I'm sad about it, but I just took out $19 million on his ass.
Exactly.
Polite for my language.
It's all good.
That was money.
I'm gonna bring up your precept in a second. But look at this. Which when you look at which race is the most in poverty, right? Overall poverty rate 11.4%, right? There's 37.2 million people. We make up 19.5. So we make up basically, I'm rounding up. We make up basically 20% of this 11.4%. So that means we have 8.5 million people in poverty as a whole. We're the poorest, but yet we spend the most money on things that look good to the eye. 30% more than people who are, let's see, almost 10%, really 10 and some change percent lower than us in the poverty scale. Now we like we said, we all know that we're not being naive to the fact that that is like that because of why slavery. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, it's not going to change the state of our people because guess where the money is going to go that we're going to spend? Right back into the same system. And it's just going to go eventually weed out and go back to the same numbers game because our people have no discipline. What precept you want me to grab for you, Salakia?
Salakia, I got three precepts.
Go ahead.
Three precepts all coming out of Proverbs. You get Proverbs 14:8 first.
All right, what's the next one?
The next one is Proverbs 14:18.
God, let me just put them all together. Proverbs 14:18. Wait, you said 14:8, so we here already, so I don't need to even do that.
Right. You can stay there for those two.
Yeah.
And the last one is Proverbs 22:3.
Cain. All right, so we're going to start with Proverbs 14:8. And it says, the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit.
Right. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way. So prudent means you're foretelling. Prudent means you're always thinking about what's going to happen, the risks, right? You're weighing out the risks. You're counting the costs. You're seeing the possibilities, the worst scenario, the best scenario, right? The prudent man is going to understand his way, meaning like the brother said, you're going to understand if I get this amount of money, this is what I need to do with it. Not just for my life, not just for my kids' life, but my kids' life, right? That's the wisdom of a prudent man, is to understand his way, right? But the folly of fools is deceit, which is why we're going into telling you, brothers and sisters, to get this reparation money, even now, yeah, they're working a 9 to 5, they get that check, and the folly and foolishness will deceive them to think that they can spend their money on this when they really should be saving it, right? A fool is going to deceive himself constantly because he's not prudent. He's not thinking about the future. He's not thinking ahead. He's thinking about right now. Well, I'm hungry right now, but you got food. You got food in the cabinet, brother. Well, I want a new truck right now, brother. You're young. Your truck is working fine, right? The folly and foolishness of our people will deceive them into spending money. So if we get that reparation, guess what? We don't have that many prudent men. They're going to deceive themselves, and they're going to spend that money till it's gone, right? Verse 18.
Verse 18. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge.
Right. So once we come into this truth and we read this book of life, we have knowledge, and we become prudent, and we're crowned with knowledge because we can see the future, right? We can see famine coming. We can see the government taking control of people's lives. So what would we do with the money? We would sow it into the ground, sow it into community, sow it into something that will profit us for times ahead. That's being prudent. But the simple inherit folly, right? When all hell break loose, when crap hits the fan, and you in your house with all your Jordans and your scat pack is in the garage, all of that you just inherited was folly. None of that can save you. None of that is going to add knowledge to your situation. None of that is going to help you. That's why you inherited folly.
You're gonna be starving, looking at your car, just shaking your head, man.
You're gonna be starving looking at that $2,000 dog you done bought that's ugly.
Yeah.
Right?
The crazy part is, man, it's like, how in the world would they even give $5 million to every African American, bro? That
Same way
doesn't.
that they're sending money to all the Ukraines, the same way they're sending money to Israel, the same way they're spending money on $1 trillion military fund, the same way they make up the money.
You know the crazy part is,
All they got to do is make up the money, just print it, and guess what? If you were a black person and you were missed and you didn't get it, all you have to do is tell the IRS, "Hey, I'm black. Here's my driver's license," and they're gonna send it to you because all they do is print the money, right?
you know the crazy part is, man, they're already trying to take out Black history from schools. That was just put the nail in the coffin. They give you reparations, okay, y'all definitely can't say nothing. Now let bygones be bygones.
Right, because it was dealt with. $3 billion.
Let's just move on.
Hey, this is the Department of Defense website at that. It says more than $3 billion in additional security assistance for Ukraine since 2014, right? Now, I want to go back because this one says right here, CFR, Council on Foreign Relations.org, right? So how much aid has the U.S. sent to Ukraine? Here are 6 charts, right? Every year, the United States sends billions of dollars in aid and much more than any other country to beneficiaries around the world in pursuit of its security, economic, and humanitarian interests. Heading into 2022, U.S. foreign assistance was driven by various priorities of the Biden administration, including combating climate change, responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, and countering authoritarianism. But since Russia's invasion in February, Ukraine has become far and away the top recipient of United States foreign aid. It's the first time that a European country has held the top spot since the Harry S. Truman administration directed vast sums into rebuilding the continent through the Marshall Plan after World War II. Here's the point. In 2022, the Biden administration and the United States Congress have directed nearly $50 billion in assistance to Ukraine, which includes humanitarian, financial, and military support, according to the Kiel Institute for the World Economy, a German research institute.
See,
Right?
hey, brother Denal, that's your 5 million right there per black person. 50 billion. That's your 5 million for each black person in America.
U.S. Census 2020.
It's
right?
definitely possible. Will they do it? Probably, most likely not. But
So
it's
listen,
Why you going to 2020?
because the census is every 10 years.
Oh, teach me something new every day.
Dang, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see it. Nah, this. Well, it's what I want, but it's not what I want. Let me see 2020 census race. Oh, statistics on race in America, right? Let me see. So, population. So black non-Hispanic make up about 41,427,341 people in this country, right? Which is roughly, I want to say they said it's like 14%, something like that, right? Something like that, for like somewhat 14, 15%. I don't want to be wrong, but either way it goes. So remember this number, right? Remember this number. So if you take 5 million and times that by 41 million, what was that? 427,341. And this includes everybody that's accounted for. This is 207 trillion 136 billion $705 million. That will not be happening.
It's not going to be happening, but the U.S. got that though.
207 trillion. We was in debt 31 trillion.
I think our military budget was like
it went over a trillion.
It was 3 trillion, I believe.
3 trillion.
I
Let me
think our
see.
military budget this year was like $3 trillion.
How much
Two
was
hundred and
the
seven trillion dollars.
military budget for, let's say, 2022?
And
All
then you
right,
got to think too, bro. Are they willing to,
344 billion.
then you got to think too,
I'm trying
bro.
to figure out where I saw a trillion at.
Probably dead.
No, I seen it somewhere.
You got to think. Are they willing to put $5 million into a crackhead's hand on the street?
No. Matter of fact, you don't even got to do the math like that, because they were saying roughly around, so let's say $225,000 times that by 41,427,341. This is
Oh,
doable.
my bad. It's 3 trillion. It's $3 trillion for the new economy spending bill that's supposed to help repair roads and cities and things like that.
Con. 9,321,000. I mean, 9,321,000,000,000 $151,725.
No, you got that wrong.
Yeah, it's one
Oh
hundred
wait,
million
nine
more.
trillion 321,000,000,000 151. No wait,
Million.
151,725,000. Hey, math class, don't pay attention. But man, so you got to think about it like that. That's a lot of money that they would have to cough out of pocket just to make amends according to what the definition of reparations is. But this is your third precept right here. This is Proverbs 22:3. It says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished."
Right. We're gonna foresee what's coming in this world, man. We're gonna see the beast system implemented. We're gonna see you can't buy or sell. We're gonna see those things coming, and we're gonna hide ourselves. How are we gonna hide ourselves? In communities. All right. How are we gonna hide ourselves? On our own land. How are we gonna hide ourselves? Right? Through wisdom. But the simple pass on are punished. Right? They wasn't thinking about this. So now guess what they doing? Well, that's really the mark of the beast. You can get it, bro. It's not that bad, bro. You know, and guess what happens? Now they are punished because now they're indebted and they're invested into this beast system because they wasn't prudent.
Right.
Sister says people homeless now and people think they're going to aid in a depression. Our people really are mentally dead.
Mentally dead to think
I
that
would say this though. Even though we're in a recession and we are in a bad economic state, we're doing the most spending right now for some reason. If they were to give us money, it's only to make the economy completely crash.
aid in the depression, saying that the state of the economy is depressed, right? The American economy. So they're not going to sit up here and take care of the so-called black man in America just to make amends when they feel like they've already done their part. They've already got black Americans captivated enough to say that, look, man, we don't have to give them reparations, because at the end of the day, they're still going to participate in our politics. They're still going to take part in our sports and entertainment. They still love the music that they make and that the Jewish people profit from. You know what I'm saying?
We're not a big enough threat.
Right. Hey, look, and this is another precept to go along with what you're saying as far as spending, right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 16, but that's a mighty point by the sister, though. Shalom to you, sisters. Luke chapter 16 and verse number 10. And it says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much." So you can't sit up here and think that your bank account is going to go from maybe $10,000 to $5 million or 220 something $1,000, and all of a sudden you're just this big spending guru. Like, you know how to make sure that you spend make sure you spend this much for this much for that. Hey, no, look, it says that he that is faithful in that which is least is faithful. Salakia is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. You can't sit up here and think, like we said, you can't sit up here and think that this money is just going to change the mindset of our people. Because if we're going back over the statistics again, remember, again, we spend 30% more, blacks and Hispanics spend 30% more money on cars, clothes, and jewelry, things that are materialistic, appealing to the eye, more than the people who are the so-called richest people in this land.
Right. Hey, I got 2 points too, right? So look,
Go ahead.
you said they were thinking about getting about $200,000, right? Um, and then you got to think, man, our oppressors, man, too, they're saying only $200,000. Oh, go ahead and give them that. You know, to minorities, you're like, oh, that's a lot of money. To them, man, they had that when they was born.
But
You
keep in
know
mind,
what I'm saying?
too, Denal, there are some racist people out there that don't want to see us get a dime, and they'll go to their deathbed saying, "Why are they getting money for being American? They should be happy to be American."
Not only that though, you got to think. We put up those numbers about how blacks and Hispanics are the most in debt. So you give us that $200,000, bro. Most of us, the smart ones, are gonna pay off their debt. After they pay off their debt, what you got left, bro? Right? Nothing.
You're debt free.
Right. So you really, you know what I'm saying? You still broke as before. You know.
Right. Hey, $200,000 is not even enough to quit your job for life and be like, I'm straight. I don't gotta work no more.
You might be straight for 1 year.
You might be straight for a year. You know what I'm saying? If you smart, you're gonna pay off your debt. And if you still got a lot of money left over, you can go buy a house on some good land that you own that land too. You know what I'm
Best
saying?
believe when tax season come around, they gonna ask you, did you get reparations? And they gonna tax
They
the
can
heck
tax
out of you.
you. They're gonna, hey,
Right, just
look,
like they ask you, did you get government aid or assistance for what was they calling that package
the
when that
PUA, pandemic,
Relief?
pandemic relief
yeah, something. It was called PUA something.
the stimulus. I was thinking about the stimulus though.
Oh
They're
yeah,
gonna, they're
stimulus.
gonna be on your TurboTax on your H&R Block asking, did you get a stimulus? Did you get a stimulus reparation in 2023?
Oh yeah, we gonna tax you on that for
Yeah.
sure. We gonna get some of that back.
Hey, they gonna get it. You gotta think about it like this, man. 2020, 2021, all that stimulus and free money that they was giving out for that pandemic unemployment assistance and stuff like that, right? Think about how they got that back in blood. You got to think inflation, gas prices.
Right, they
That's
got
part of
that.
inflation.
Gas prices alone got that back for them, bro.
Hey, they even people started doing PPP loan, and now people thought they wasn't gonna get caught because it had been like 2 years. Now all of a sudden, people are starting to get round up and thrown in jail. Everything that we do is something that's going to come back to us, right?
Hey, would you pull out? Subject to settle debt, man, to payment, right? We're gonna be forever subject to those payments,
Right.
right? Those settled debts.
And to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. Hey, look, check this out. And when it comes to, the Peterson G. Peterson Foundation, right? This is .org. Income also varies by race and ethnicity. The table and chart below show median household income grouped by the race and ethnicity of the head of household, right? So this is based on the ethnicity of the head of household. In 2021, households whose head was classified as Asian, remember, Asians only make up about 8 or 9% of the American United States population, according to the 2020 United States Census. But if you were classified as Asian or white, they had a higher median income that than the national median for income, while households headed by people classified as black or Hispanic had median incomes that were lower than the national median, right? Like this, the average median household for all races was $71,186, right? The 2021, this is based off 2021 median household income, right? 70,784. Asians, $99,622.
None of them is
$101,418. White,
better than
non-Hispanic,
the children.
78,912. 77,999. So 78,000 twice. Hispanic, any race, 58,000, 57,000. Guess who's last on the totem pole? Blacks. 48,175, 48,297.
Two reasons, right? Two reasons. One reason is because we got the most broken homes ever, right?
Right.
Most of our houses are on government funding. We ain't got no money to ourselves, right? That's one reason why our households ain't bringing in no type of money. Two, you gotta understand, man. You see those numbers? Those numbers don't lie. Which means every so-called successful person you see on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they ain't got no money, bro.
They,
They they
they,
they, they flexing, right? The numbers don't lie, bro. As many as successful black people you see on social media, bro, ain't no way our numbers should be looking like that. And who said it? I think it was Yo Gotti. He had an interview. He was saying, "Hey, look, our people really broke. Why?" He said, "A brother might get make a brother might make $5 million a year, right? But he's still living check to check. You know what I'm saying?" He said, "You make your profit about by how much you can save, right, and how much gross you make a year, right? And then your deficit comes into your bills. And so if your bills outweigh how much you can save and outweigh how much you make a year, you're living in debt. When you live in check to check, you really ain't got no money at all. It don't matter how much you make a year. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
our people for you, right? Living above our means.
Right. Hey, look, man. Like you said, when you go look at the disparity, man, Black and American Indian kids are most likely to live in single parent families. 64% of Black children and 52% of American Indian children fit this demographic. Right.
Hey,
Hey,
shout out to GAD, man, Native Americans, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can't tell them they don't fit these curses.
so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Right?
Or should I say so-called GAD?
Yeah. Con. Hey, look, you got to think about it like this too, man. This is Lamentations 5. What is this? Lamentations 5 and 3. 5 and 3. It says, right? We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows, right? Hey, look, our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens, right? Hey, we're orphans, man. We're orphans because for one, the reason that we were under these curses in the first place, the reason why we were slaves in the first place is because going back to Deuteronomy 28, hey, look, the Most High gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to follow, and we chose not to follow them, right? We can go on and on about the statistics, the numbers, because at the end of the day, we showing you this information for a reason to to show you two things. One, reparations will not fix the mindset of the so-called black man, the so-called Hispanic man, and the so-called Native American people, right? It won't fix that mindset. Why? Because there's a spiritual disconnect between our father, which is why we are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. When you go look at the statistics of who leads the highest single parent household, hey, black people, American Indian people. You know what I'm saying? 56%. Then you not what nationality has the most single mothers? Now it says the United States. United States is not a nationality, but okay. But 56% of mothers in the United States are single, right? The race that has the most of these are black people. We have a systematic issue that we need to fix from within that will not come from the outside of our oppressor, right? This is how we fix this issue, right? This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, and verse number 9. Hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead, that thou art counted with them that go down into the grave? Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom, right? For if thou hadst walked in the way of God, thou shouldest have dwelled in peace forever, right? Verse 14. Learn where wisdom is, where strength is, where is understanding, that thou mayest know also where is the length of days and life, where is the light of eyes, where is the light of the eyes, and peace, right? We have to turn back to the commandments of the Most High. We say this all the time because it sounds like the same old song that we sing it when we say, keep the commandments, you know what I'm saying? We get blessed, keep the commandments, get blessed. But that's the truth. That's the truth, right? Deuteronomy 30. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thine soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. Right? It's only when we turn our hearts back into the Most High is when we will truly start to see our situation change. We quote it all the time. The Rock Bar has a song. It's called Midnight Prelude. And toward the end of the song, he says, we tried marching, protesting, singing, and dancing. I wonder what would happen if we did these commandments, right? If we turn to the commandments, that will change our state. But no amount of money is going to save us in this land. Like we said, hey, look, we have, I would just want to go to one more place. Deuteronomy 28 and 68 again, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 68. What does it say? By the way, wherever I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. When you look up buy you right here, it just means to be redeemed, going back into the Leviticus 25, where you could redeem a fellow Israelite from a captivity, right, that they were under. Nobody has been able to redeem us. Not Malcolm X, not Martin Luther King, not Harriet Tubman, not Frederick Douglass, not Thurgood Marshall, not Sojourner Truth, not Fred Turner. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, not the Black Panther Party, not the Bloods, not the Crips, not the GDs, nobody.
Not even the Israelites.
What you say, Brother Azrael? You muted.
I said not the NFAC.
Right. Hey, not the NHPC, not the NAACP. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has been able to redeem us out of this captivity. It's only going to be the Most High God. So if you think our people weren't able to redeem us out of this captivity, how much more the so-called white man with reparations? Reparations is just the money. That's just like me punching a brother in the face, and then I come back to him, hey, I know I hit you in the face. Here's $44 million. Take it, man. Hey, we all good. That doesn't sometimes certain things are not going to change or shouldn't be accepted because it's money. You know what I'm saying? Like we had our people enslaved. They were raped, robbed, and murdered for hundreds of years, thousands of years. You think that $200,000 now is going to say, okay, all is forgiven, and that's going to be enough? That's
Hey,
not going to be enough.
a lot of Jake out there would take the money over history though. Like
Right.
if there was an ultimatum saying, "Hey, look, we give you all these reparations. We taking slavery out of Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? We're taking it out of all the schools." A lot of Jake out there would be like, "Say less, say less. Just give us the money, and you won't ever hear nothing about slavery from us." You got a lot of Jakes out. I know some Jakes personally that will take that deal.
Right. And you got to be simple-minded to think that if you're going to get 200,000 or however much money from the government, that all is going to be forgiven. They're going to come tax you. They're going to tax you so hard that you're going to go back into debt. And guess what? Now they're going to make it to where these jobs that are right now in this economy only paying what? 12, 13, 14, $15 an hour, some more, some less. You know what I'm saying? The jobs that right now are paying in this economy that are not even helping you get by, they're going to make you have to work that job because you're going to be so in debt after they tax you. You're going to have no choice but to make money somehow, some way. It's either that or back on the street selling crack. It's back on the street selling dope, you know?
It's really comical because I could just see the amount of Jake and Eve. As soon as they get that $200,000 going to their job, I'm gone. I'm out.
Gone. I'm out this piece.
They cussing everybody out and they leaving, not knowing that $200,000 cannot sustain your life for a long time.
Especially not the life that they living, that fast life.
Right.
Spending money on nonsense, boy. That $200,000 gonna be gone in a year, two max, bro. And then you don't burn all the bridges. You can't get no job.
Right.
You
I'm not gonna
broke
lie
than
though.
what you was before.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna say it on here, but you know what I'm thinking. But I'm not gonna say that. Not on here. But I'm just gonna say that I feel some type of way about that. I'll let you know. But what I'm saying is ultimately what the brothers are saying is true. Our people live the fast life. Like we said, we have no discipline, man. If you're unjust with the little, you're gonna be unjust with the lot. You know what I'm saying? If you're faithful with the little, you're gonna be faithful with the lot. But you can't expect yourself to have bad spending habits now and you only making what $900 to now you got 200 something thousand and you think you just gonna be a financial advisor with your spending, man, get out of here. You know, I pray that it is like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't never pray for the destruction of our people. I pray for the uplift. I pray for discipline and I pray for patience and wisdom in the mindset of myself and our people. Right. But reparations simply will not fix the problem. It will not fix the black race because we still lead with the most amount of fatherless homes. We still have the most amount of people incarcerated per capita in our race. Money is not going to change that. That's systematical. That's spiritual. That has to come from a different place that money can't buy. Money can't buy a father, man. You can't buy back somebody's father who got killed due to senseless gun violence. It's not going to replace that, right? But hopefully, man, you were edified enough to understand the connection that we were trying to make with reparations, the state of our people, the history of slavery, and how that reparations are truly not going to be what fixes our people, but yet rather a repentance and turn to the Father. Brothers, got any closing precepts?
No closing precept, but just wanted to emphasize what the brothers are saying. It doesn't matter how much money is given, you can't forget history. If you guys watch the Central Park 5 on Netflix and you guys watched that last season, you will understand it. I think they gave him $5 million when he got out. You'll understand ain't no amount of money can help you cope with what he went through in that prison.
Right.
Multiple surgeries, multiple stabbings, multiple rapes, right? It's nothing that's going to make him he can't sleep at night. Ain't no amount of money is going to. Hey, look, man, keep the faith in the Most High God. If they give these reparations, I'm not saying I'm not going to do nothing with it. I'm not giving it back, but don't depend on the reparations and just be prudent.
All right, kind.
You got something you want to close with?
Enough was said.
Kane, man. Hey, look, like the brother was saying, they were Central Park 5, man. They tried to open up, they filed a lawsuit against the state of New York. It took them 12, 13 years to finally settle out in court, right? So to even get the money that they received, they had to wait years to get that money, right? That goes to show you how much they value our people in this land. If they did it wrong, they're not focused on paying us back because they already done broke us enough into not wanting to do anything to offend the people who have the power in this country, the so-called white man, right? But hey, look, enough has been said. Like the brother was saying, want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High God. Hopefully, you all were edified on this Think About It Thursday. But through the Spirit, man, we'll be back on here tomorrow. But if you weren't tuning in on the live, shalom to you who will watch afterwards. But hey, look, we're gonna sign off this thing and give a shalom.